Welcome to This Explainer. We're jumping right into an absolutely epic 500,000-year journey today, exploring exactly how humans evolved from cave-dwelling hunter-gatherers into settled agricultural societies. It is a massive story of survival, innovation, and the literal building blocks of modern civilization, and we're going to unpack exactly how it all happened. Here's our roadmap for today. We're organizing hundreds of thousands of years of human ingenuity into digestible eras. We'll start by decoding historical timelines, and then travel straight through the Paleolithic, the Mesolithic, the Neolithic, and finally, the Chalcolithic ages.
Starting off with Section 1, Decoding Historical Timelines.
Before we start digging up ancient tools, we absolutely got to anchor ourselves in time. You know the drill. We use BC, or before Christ, sometimes also called BCE, or before Common Era. Now remember, with BC, the numbers are actually counting backward as we move toward year zero. Then we switch over to AD, Anno Domini, counting forward to right now. So just to keep things in perspective, when we talk about a date like 2000 BC, we're actually talking about a whopping 4,000 years ago. Because we're going so incredibly far back, this explainer leans heavily on archaeology over written history. Think about it. Written history can be pretty biased, right? Imagine some ancient king paying off a scribe to write a glowing, totally exaggerated biography about him. But archaeology, physical evidence, the stones, the bones, the discarded tools, they simply don't lie. They give us the unshakable, ground truth facts we need. All right, let's jump into Section 2, the Paleolithic, or the Old Stone Age. For nearly 500,000 years, all the way down to roughly 10,000 BC, early humans were completely nomadic. No farms, no cities. They survived purely by hunting animals and foraging for food. But then, they made one monumental leap that literally changed the course of our species forever: the discovery of fire. And we're not just guessing here. We have absolute proof of this from ancient ash deposits discovered by archaeologists right in the Kurnul caves of Andhra Pradesh. And during this massive stretch of the Paleolithic era, humanity was literally leveling up. We were physically evolving step by step. We started from Australopithecus, transitioned to Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, until we finally arrived at the modern human form, us, Homo sapiens. Now, along with upgrading their bodies, our ancestors upgraded their tech. Enter flake technology. By carefully chipping away pieces of stone to create much sharper, more precise edges, they completely revolutionized their toolkits. I know, a sharp rock sounds pretty basic to us today, but back then, this was a massive evolutionary leap. It's literally the Stone Age equivalent of upgrading from a clunky-out flip phone to a fully equipped modern smartphone. By the time we reach the Upper Paleolithic phase, basic survival starts evolving into actual artistic expression, leaving us with these breathtaking rock paintings. And here is a crazy fact. The stunning Bhimbetka cave paintings in Madhya Pradesh were discovered in 1957 purely by chance. Archaeologist V.S. Wakankar literally spotted the rock formations while looking out the window of a moving train on his way to Itarsi. Talk about being observant, right? Moving right along to Section 3, the Mesolithic, or the Middle Stone Age. Consider this question for a second. What actually happens to humanity when the freezing ice age ends and the Earth finally warms up? Well, the icy Pleistocene epoch shifted into the much warmer Holocene epoch. And this warmer climate triggered a massive global boom in plant and animal life. Suddenly, our ancestors woke up in a lush, highly vegetated world, teeming with totally new, smaller, and much faster animals. To hunt this speedy new game, humans had to get creative and invent new tech. Enter the microlith. Micro meaning small, and lith meaning stone. By crafting these tiny, highly specialized and razor-sharp stones, hunters could attach them to wooden handles to make incredibly precise weapons. Those bulky old Paleolithic hand axes, totally left in the dust. This totally changed environment triggered a massive behavioral shift too. Humans realized they didn't just have to hunt animals anymore. They could actually tame them. Archaeological sites like Bagaur in Rajasthan and Adamgarh in Madhya Pradesh give us the very first evidence that humans were becoming herders. They were actively domesticating animals for the first time. Which brings us to Section 4, the Neolithic, or the New Stone Age. The New Stone Age marks an absolute explosion of innovation. Why? Because humans finally cracked the secret to agriculture. And once you're growing crops, you can't exactly pack up and wander around anymore. You have to settle down. Plus, with surplus grains and animal milk lying around, they needed a way to store it all. So, boom, they invent pottery, all while crafting these beautifully polished stone tools. Thanks to farming, permanent communities began springing up all over the map, leaving us with some unbelievable archaeological milestones. Mehrangarh, in modern-day Pakistan, gives us the absolute earliest evidence of agriculture in the subcontinent. Over in Uttar Pradesh, Kuldihwa yields the very first evidence of rice cultivation. And up in Birzahom, Kashmir, humans were building these incredibly sophisticated pit dwellings right near the lakes. And with these permanent settlements, their cultural and spiritual lives became remarkably complex. In those pit dwellings in Birzahom, archaeologists uncovered a fascinating, kind of heartwarming quirk. These Neolithic people lovingly buried their domesticated dogs right alongside their masters. It just shows you that the emotional bond between humans and their animals goes back thousands and thousands of years. And finally, Section 5, the Chalcolithic, or the Copper Age. The Chalcolithic Age is a total game changer because this is when humans officially discovered copper. This is huge. Copper is the very first metal ever utilized by humanity. Escaping the limitations of stone was a true technological revolution, and it forever changed the trajectory of human toolmaking, architecture, and society as a whole. With the powerful new aid of metal, we see the rise of highly organized, distinct rural communities. The Indian subcontinent just blossomed with unique regional cultures. You've got the Ganeshwar Jodhpura and Ahar Banas cultures in Rajasthan, the Kayatha and Malwa cultures over in Madhya Pradesh, and the massive Jorwe culture that practically blanketed Maharashtra. These societies lived incredibly structured, fascinating lives. They built specific mud and thatch homes, practiced totally unique funerary customs, famously using these massive urn burials for their deceased, and their artistic expression peaked with distinct, beautiful pottery styles, slowly transitioning from traditional black and red wares into vibrant ochre colors. Looking back at all this incredible progress reveals a lot about how we should study the past. Back in the 1800s, historian James Mill tried to divide Indian history using a pretty biased lens, splitting it up into Hindu, Muslim, and British periods. But then you have archaeologist C.J. Thompson, who offered a far more accurate scientific framework. He mapped history purely based on human physical progress through our tools, moving from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age and eventually the Iron Age. As we wrap up this explainer on the dawn of metallurgy, I want to leave you with one final thought. If the discovery of just a single, relatively soft metal like copper could completely rewire the human world, what unbelievable, earth-shattering transformations await humanity when they finally discover iron? Keep that question in mind as you think about our deep past and, hey, maybe even our own technological future. Thanks for learning with me today.